Here's the start of my mini talk, which is me feeling into my nervous system and then connecting it to the larger, and you just see if any of it resonates. So I'm taking July off of work as a research project to not have any structure to see what works and what doesn't work. It's long enough for me to kind of get a sense and not too long that it's going to be detrimental for anybody. And I've been noticing that I have been spiraling and excited. So it's like these so many different emotions at the same time. But I wanted to name this one in case it resonates for anybody. Is my wounded child and my teenager are freaked out if we're not helpful, if we're not productive, if we're not working. Because so much of our value has been connected to that identity. I got praise when I worked well at the restaurant. I got praise when I graduated valedictorian and got a huge scholarship. Any college in Colorado, I got gold stars for those things, and everything else wasn't noticed. Okay, so zooming out, I want you to see your orientation to career or work or being a good parent, any role that you carry. I want you to notice, right? Is my identity tied there? Is it at the core? And you're not here to criticize, you're just here to understand yourself better, right? So, zooming back into me is I started the decolonizing work several years ago, and I've gotten to this next layer, right? I did all these things that were so resourceful for me, resourcing for me. Starting this group, I wrote a book, created this different way of working, which was phenomenal. And there's like a tug still of something needs to shift again, right? Part of me just wants to bulldoze through and say, this is the way it is. I just built this. What are you talking about? And then there's this like quiet tugging of, I think there's something else too, right? So it's not throwing it out completely. It's like what I do when I say, run this through your body and see what lands and what doesn't. Is you just take the bits that do work, right? You hold those tender and then you clear out the rest. Okay. I'm going to explain why this is harder than it sounds. Epigenetics are the expressions of how our DNA how our DNA expresses itself due to trauma that's been unprocessed, okay? So if we zoom out and look at collective trauma, the way that the collective, each individual has dealt with it was just to bulldoze forward. Literally, okay? So even the colonizers, again, same size circle, landed on Turtle Island, decimated, right? Re-educated, murdered, reproduced with the indigenous, right? Here, stole their wisdom, stole their land. It wasn't even their land, stole the land, proper, created into property and ownership and domination, right? Including the slaves that were stolen from Africa. All of these things were so profound in the harm that there's been no pause to go, what happened? Why are we doing this? There's enough for everyone, right? So zooming out, don't get overwhelmed. Don't get stuck in the narrative. What we're doing is we're looking at the dynamic. And this dynamic is everywhere. And what's great is this dynamic you can undo internally, and that's what will shift everything. Okay? What I'm trying to do is just give you the context of after war, after all those things, people come back, they're shells of themselves, and they still need to eat. They still need to take care of their kids. They still need to work. They still need to make money. And so we go in and you just keep barreling through, maintaining a system or structures that don't serve and don't support the human in you, the heart in you, who you really are. So the break is really an opportunity to go, what works and what doesn't. And I'm going to tell you, my teenager thinks that she's going to get everything done. And my functional adult is like, you're going to maybe get a 20th of what you think you're going to get done because the majority of it is really just resting and seeing what your natural rhythm is. And the majority of that time is going to be fighting with yourself. And a lot of anxiety and seeing that you're going to live through it anyway. So I'm trying to level set with the little ones, right? This is not going to be a huge, like rainbows and unicorns, right? It's really going to just land on how precious this one body is. Your one body is this land that you occupy, that you are meant to steward. This land, your body, your literal body, is the one you're here to tend, right? Not tend so you can just go to work, although we do need to, okay? But tend to understand that you're not here to be a laborer. You're not here to do the thing to move the needle. You're here to live and figure out what brings you joy and pay the bills and clean the toilet, okay? But when you center the needs of this body, this land, the other stuff makes sense. You don't do it out of resentment. You don't do it out of obligation. You do it out of love because it makes sense in the sense of my home I'm going to take care of because it houses me. And this home I'm going to take care of because it houses my heart, my essence, my soul. This relationship I'm going to tend to because they're as important as me. I'm not going to overgive. I'm not going to shut out, but I'm going to be careful, right? And connecting and reciprocating. But it all starts inside first. And it's worth it because you are worth it. You are but a speck and stardust and the land. All of the elements exist in you. That is the end of my mini talk. Everyone take a sip.